right. Are we live? Hopefully. Pop out dashboard. Excellent connection. It's a good sign. Let's see if we can find a link to share. Okay. Live. How do I share my stream? I have no idea. Share? There we go. Okay. Share. Let's do this. Okay. There we go. This stream sucks. Jim, you can't be the 7th comment in this live stream and immediately say it sucks. The vibes are just ruined. I just realized I'm using an old thumbnail for this stream. I just realized I'm using a Gielinor Games 3 thumbnail. This is just not good. How do I change the thumbnail on a YouTube live stream? I have no idea. No idea. Manage? If you manage, it will cancel your stream. That's not good. I guess we're talking about GG3, guys. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you guys. We will be answering and talking about some Gielinor Games stuff here on YouTube over the next few hours. I'm very excited to do so. But now I just realized that the thumbnail is showing me talking about Gielinor Games 3. But it's not a big deal. It just says... It doesn't say Gielinor Games 3 in the thumbnail. Or it just says Gielinor Games with the crown in my face. Like, I feel like that's fine, right? I feel like that's fine. Maybe it's something I can change afterwards. But I'm annoyed. How do I change the thumbnail? Edit. Ah, I found it. Guys, I found where I change it. Let me do that really quickly. 1 second. And then we will get to it. Maybe I'll use the trailer thumbnail for this. Don't be annoyed, be happy. That's very true. Very true. Give me 1 second, guys. I have only read 2 messages so far from the chat. I love you guys very much. I will get to it ASAP. I'm just quickly fixing the thumbnail for the stream, which I should have done beforehand. There we go. Let's do this. Save. Okay. I think that should be the, hopefully better thumbnail. Cool. Cool. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the annual YouTube live stream talking about Gielinor Games. Good to see you guys. Hope you guys are all doing great. In this live stream, we'll talk about everything Gielinor Games 4. We'll talk about behind-the-scenes stuff that you guys maybe want to know about, that you have always, wanted to know the answer to. I'll talk to you guys about my thoughts about the season as a whole and just answer any and all of your questions that you guys might have. So it's great to see all of you, seeing lots of awesome questions and names in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in. And really good to see you guys all here. So don't forget, guys, if I don't answer your question right away, please feel free to keep posting it. I will eventually get to it. I just usually will go on rambles about one question for minutes at a time. And that might take a little bit. Well, that means that I'll miss some of the other questions. So yeah, feel free to answer as many questions as you guys want. Okay, let me just start from the top here. How's it going, Sea Enemies? Good to see you. Are we allowed to mention spoilers? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are allowed to talk about his spoilers. This is not a spoiler-free chat. The finale has been out for 2 weeks now. The season has finished for 2 weeks, so we can officially talk about anything and everything here. Challenge idea: have all the contestants start in the same location with a plugin that counts tiles. Give them 5 minutes and stamina pots. Most unique tiles walked wins. Farther tiles from start priority. I actually, interestingly enough, did a challenge like that in a video. I have a series called One Remains, which is kind of like a Gielinor Games in a single episode series. And we actually did that, and it turned out pretty great. So it was really, really cool. Ever thought of having randoms interrupt in ways you had to edit out? Hello, Brett Nelly. Thank you for the super chat, $5. Ever have randoms interrupt in ways you had to edit out? Yeah, so we've had a couple instances where when we're filming like at the Duel Arena, a lot of the times at the start, people will come in and realize we're filming Gielinor Games. So I have to kind of edit those portions out. There's also just some funny interactions where viewers will like follow a person as they're doing something. But we've never had an instance where it's like ruined a challenge. Like if anything, I think you guys have seen from seasons. You guys remember season 3, Mila Azul. Don't Google that in the what was it? The Hazil cult area. And then in season 4, we had Heavy Load 63. Like those are funny interruptions, right? Those are ones that actually I think add to the episode as opposed to ruin it. So I don't mind keeping those in, but the randoms occasionally coming in can sometimes be an issue for sure. But thank you very much, Brett Nelly. There's probably a bunch of smaller instances that I can't think of right now off the top of my head, but yeah, that's just one instance. I'm gonna see if I can get the chat up on my screen for you guys as well. Add window capture. Yeah, let's do this. There we go. I will put it under my webcam. Okay. I'll do it like this so you guys can see some chat messages. Hi Chaos Room, my wife had zero interest or knowledge in RuneScape, but she wouldn't let me watch GG without her. That's amazing. That's awesome, man. And that's something I've wanted to talk about with you guys is, as you guys know, Gielinor Games is, at the end of the day, my goal with Gielinor Games is to make it a series that the regular viewer can watch and understand, right? So I've gotten so many messages this season about people who watched Gielinor Games with their wives or girlfriends or boyfriends. Pretty much they watched it with people who don't play RuneScape, but they were still able to watch and for the most part understand what was going on. And that's honestly the goal with anything when it comes to YouTube, right? You want to be able to make it as digestible to as big of an audience as possible. And I think this was the best season for that so far with Gielinor Games. I think we kind of tuned down the challenges enough to keep them simple but still exciting. And with the music and the alliances and the drama and stuff, I think that alone keeps people coming back and watching. So it's really cool to see you guys all saying that. Can we get Tanzu and Virtuoso back next season? I'd love to have Jen and Dave back without a doubt. As long as scheduling works, I'd love to have them back. Absolutely. Seems like it would be difficult to nail down times for all the contestants. Did you experience frustration with these guys being on time, especially with them being your friends too? I mean, there was times when, some people were a little bit late to a filming session. There was times when we had to, message some people to get on to film the challenge. But I was never like angry or mad just because they're doing this in their own time. They're doing this, they don't necessarily have to do it. They're doing it for, the sake of the show and to have a good time. And so I'm never going to be fully mad at somebody for, potentially missing, a session or turning up a bit late, right? So I'm just thankful that all of them agreed to be on the show and are willing to, put their time aside to participate. But yeah, we have had, like, for example, usually we film at 2 p.m. Eastern time, but I would say that we've only ever really started a session filming-wise once or twice at 2 p.m., right? It always takes a little bit for people to get in, but it is what it is. Would you consider having an entirely new cast for Season 5 with no returnees? I don't think so. No, I think one of the nice things about Gielinor Games is that I think it's important to bring people back with storylines from previous seasons and then also bring in new fresh faces. I think having that mixture is really important. And I just think there's a lot of players who just deserve to be back consistently. A lot of the viewers love watching them. And having people come back who have previous rivalries, right, who have previous history on the show, I think that's an important part of the storyline, right? So, yeah. Same shirt as last live stream. I've got to rep the soup shirt, man. It's got the soup bowl on it. It's the perfect shirt to wear. It's got my soup bowl on it. Have you ever considered working the audience into an episode? Something like GG Live. Chris, thank you for the $5, man. That's very kind. You know, I don't... That to me is a bit too much of an outside factor that could not necessarily ruin the game, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be happy. Because at that point, I feel like it kind of becomes a popularity game with the audience coming into play. I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, there should be live audience voting on, you know, who gets eliminated or who comes back into the game, right? But that just spoils it for everybody. Like if I, for example, tweet out, hey guys, we're on episode 6 and it's Bodhi versus Solo Mission, vote on who you want to stay in the game, right? That just completely spoils it for the entire rest of the audience, right? Before the season has even come out. So I would very much try to limit outside influences on the show when it comes to, for example, the audience being a part of it. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for the 5, Chris. You're a dirtbag. $5. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for an amazing season of GG. It's a fun way to bring friends who don't know the game to come and experience OSRs with me. That's awesome to hear, man. Like I said, that literally genuinely warms my heart because I've heard, like, I don't know, man. I smile every time somebody tells me or sends me a message that they watch, you know, there's people were saying they have consistent watch parties with their friends, right? In Discord or even in real life. You know, they would all watch it together and discuss. Like, that's just the best thing ever, right? So shout out to all of you guys who are doing that. Yep, exactly, Zoak. The framed EV-scape build-up from previous seasons made that elimination so much better, right? So, yeah. Would you ever consider expanding your editing team? It's something I 100% should do, but I'm stubborn, and I have a tough time entrusting anybody else to edit Gielinor Games footage, but it's something I need to do, because it's going to save me a lot of time and get the season out faster to you guys, which is, at the end of the day, probably what you want. You want the seasons to come out quickly. But still quickly enough to where they're still good quality, right? So yeah, the editing team is something I do definitely need to, but I've talked about this quite a bit. It's difficult, right? How many people have have RuneScape reality TV show editor under their resume, right? It's definitely a unique skill set to edit RuneScape reality television, right? So that's something that I'll probably have a tough time finding. Yeah, GG will consistently be a probably once per year thing. I don't ever see it doing more than once per year. It just is too difficult time-wise. Could do anonymous audience help, something like first 10 comments to this tweet of a random list item spawn and get added to the list of items required. Yeah, that's probably an okay way of going about it. But it does add an extra level of just like logistics that sometimes I just feel like I don't have the time to do. To me, this is just my opinion. I really prefer just filming everything behind the scenes where the audience has no idea what's going on. And then the season comes out, and then you guys can experience it fresh. Like, any potential leaks or spoilers, I would prefer probably to stay away from, right? So, I was surprised you didn't have Oda as a boss in the banning. Well, if you're an Oda fan, you would know that he's told everybody multiple times that he was invited to be on, but said no because he couldn't make the time. So I refuse to take any backlash for anything Oda related when he himself has said that he said no because of time related stuff. So please don't forget that. Okay. Again, guys, I'm probably going to be missing a lot of messages here. So please feel free to consistently ask your questions over and over until I answer them, because I see quite a few that I'm skipping over. So I will get to them as soon as possible. What was the minigame? What minigame was the PvP challenge in Valley Park? That was... So if you guys didn't know, you can enter into a Clan Wars PvP game in Falador Park. So if you guys go to Clan Wars in the Ferox Enclave, if you guys head over here and go to Clan Wars, you can create a custom game where you can then have a PvP, Falador Park PvP arena. You can also do it with Lumbridge as well. You can have a PvP tournament in Lumbridge. So that is something that you can set up, which is a really cool thing to do for GG this year, was to have the PvP fight be in Falador Park. One of the cool things about GG is that it reliably comes out the same time on Saturdays. If an episode came out on a Saturday, how far ahead of that did you have to edit and ready to publish? Yeah, so I think one of the most important things of having if you wanted to really be a show, I think having it come out at a consistent time every single week is very important. Just like how classic, television does it. I think that makes it feel like more like a classic show, right? If I want to use that word. So having it come out Saturdays at the same time, I think was just kind of nice because people know, oh, Gielinor Games is on Saturday, guaranteed 100%, right? So I think it's it's going to be there every single time. So I think that kind of adds to the consistency of it, right? Because you always know when it's going to come out. The episodes were usually done Friday. So the episodes were usually done a day before the episodes came out on Saturday. Sometimes I stayed up all night and got them done Saturday morning. But yeah, usually the episodes were done Thursday night, Friday, or Saturday morning. I do think I will be in San Diego, yes, for TwitchCon. What happened with the episode you didn't like the edit of? Hey, Robin. So the episode itself it could have been ready, but I really just thought it felt rushed. I thought that was the Top Gear challenge in episode 5. And that one was a hard challenge to edit because it was 14 people? 15 people? What was it? 15 people? I think Top Gear was 15 people. And the challenge was for them to do 30 minutes of pretty much creating gear from scratch. So 15 people, 30 minutes of footage each. There's a lot of footage and B-roll to go through, a lot of confessionals. So by the time I was wrapping up the episode on Friday, before the episode came out, it felt very rushed and just didn't really feel complete. So I just decided to give it an extra day and just kind of fine tune a lot of the things. It could have come out on Saturday and probably been okay, but I really liked how it turned out after I spent an extra day on it. So yeah, that's why I took an extra day. Yeah, it's awesome that the Old School YouTube channel commented on the video. Those guys, the Jagex has been the most supportive they've ever been for Gielinor Games this past season, so I'm very thankful and appreciative of that. Yes, I agree, man. I think the Jimmy prop hunt cameo I thought it was flawless. I thought it was amazing. And from what I saw from the comments and from what you guys have been saying, cameos are something you want to see more. So cameos from creators who aren't on the season, but you still want to see make an appearance, whether that's people who have been on the show before or new people, right? I think that's a really good way of going about doing it. That way we can get people involved in the season who weren't able to make it in the first place, but we can still get them involved in the season somehow. So that can be done with guest appearances like Jimmy and Prop Hunt. I can have, for example, people like Oda Block or somebody PvP related for a PvP challenge, right? That way, you still will get to see one of your favorite creators, even if it's only for an episode or two. Hey man, congratulations on 4 seasons of GG. Thank you. Hope you do one for years to come. My question is, do you plan on a PvP GG, especially to scale it for PKers? So this is one of the most asked questions from this past season is why did it feel like there was a lack of PvP challenges? And I'll be brutally honest with you guys. PvP just is really difficult to create challenges for. It really is difficult. If you guys didn't know, we try to film a Gielinor Games challenge session in about 30 to 45 minutes. Like that is usually the time frame that we film a challenge. So coming up with a PvP challenge that can be fit into a 30 to 45 minute time frame is really difficult. On top of that, to be honest with you guys, and I know this might hurt some of you, but PvP challenges are some of the least popular challenges on GG. I'm not saying I personally don't like PvP. I think PvP is some of the most important. PvP is one of the most important parts of the game's past, the game's future. I think it's incredibly important. But if I'm going by the metrics, if I'm going by the numbers, PvP challenges are just some of the least popular challenges in general from a viewer standpoint and from a feedback standpoint. So I know that a lot of people have personally really want to see, a mass amount of PvP challenges come into the game. But I just find it personally to be really difficult to balance PvP challenges. And on top of that, try to make it something that the majority of viewers can understand and appreciate, right? Because if you think about it, for example, the PvP relay challenge we did this season, for you guys who play RuneScape and understand RuneScape and know about PvP, you guys know what Carols to Daroks are, right? You guys know what a Void setup is. You guys know what a Zerker setup is. But if you have somebody watching with you who is watching that PvP episode, and all of a sudden I start throwing out terms like Carols to DH, right? Void Pure, Zerker, Main. Like, those terms are going to go in one ear and out the other. So that automatically, those challenges alone are going to be super difficult for people to maybe understand. At the end of the day, yes, it is kind of simplified to kill this person and you do better, right? So it's something that I don't have the answer for. I really don't have the answer for you guys. Like, I don't have a perfect answer as to why, you know, there isn't more PvP challenges and why I can't make more. But that's kind of like just my simple answer to just my thoughts behind PvP challenges. So yeah. Hey Baldy, see my previous $5 donation? What the hell? What? Jesus. Did I see your previous $5 donation? I'm looking through all the. I do not see yours, but feel free to ask in the chat and I'll answer your question for you. Thank you for the $2 though. I appreciate it. So for me, for PvP challenges, what I think you guys, again, maybe you like this, maybe you don't, but I think the best feedback I got for a PvP challenge was the challenge in season 3, where there was 2 teams, and each team had 1 hour to make an account from scratch to PvP with, and then those 2 teams fought it out in a PvP battle. So I think PvP challenges that includes something else other than just fighting, whether it's like some type of from scratch element, or, you know, they have to do some type of money making element before that or something before they fight. I think that is a good way of going about doing it. That way it's not just PvP, but there's something else as a part of it. So yeah. Dirtbag, thanks for the $5 again, man. The Daroks banning is the best challenge that I've seen that closes the knowledge gap for newcomers as far as PvP challenges. Yeah, I mean, to eat or not to eat. What's up, Kovalo? Good to see you, bro. My man, my goat. Yeah, to eat or not to eat is one of the simplest forms of PvP, right? You attack and you wait for them to attack. I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? It's there's like a specific type of game where it's like attack, that's your attack, then you wait for your opponent to attack. You guys are smarter than I am. There's a specific type of name for that. Yeah, turn-based, exactly. Turn-based, thank you. Again, you guys are all way smarter than I am. It's a turn-based fight. Turn-based things are very easy to understand for anybody who watches. So again, that's why the DH thing was so fun and exciting to watch, because it's turn-based, it's simple to understand. But, however, I've seen a lot of arguments that the DH banning is too RNG heavy. And I don't disagree with that. I think RNG plays probably the biggest part in that banning, but that doesn't stop it from being exciting, right? That doesn't stop it from being very exciting. For Copycat, how do players know that they got the wrong item with the same model? I never include an item, at least that I know of, that has the same model as something else. So that usually is, well, that will never be an issue. With people doing their own after episode reactions, like V Solo Settle, do you have to review them for potential spoilers, or is it just a trust thing? It's just a trust thing. They all understand. They're all very good at understanding what's a spoiler and what's not a spoiler, so... yeah, it's just a trust thing. I've seen a lot of people ask me like, oh, do all the competitors sign NDAs before they're on the show? No, we don't sign a single NDA. Like, I have not made a single person from seasons 1 to 4 sign any type of NDA or document being like, don't spoil or leak this. It's just a trust thing. I'm friends with everybody, and we all understand that leaking and spoiling is just ruins the show in general. So, can you comment on why Ditter was not involved? I just wanted to mix up the cast, and Ditter was not a part of the cast for season 4. It's really that simple, my man. Some people return to the show, some people don't. It's as you guys know, I try to mix up the cast every single season, and usually those the cast is usually who's brought back and who's on the next season is usually based off feedback from previous seasons, and you know, from you guys filling out the season 3 survey, as well as just who I think would have the best dynamic in the cast. So it's really just that simple. Soup spoiled GG finale for me like 6 months early. Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad, dude. That's my bad. I'm happy you didn't leak it anywhere else. I don't have any answers to cast questions right now, guys. I really don't. I don't know who's going to be on season 5 yet. I have not even started planning it. I'm still wrapping up season 4 post-production stuff and post-season videos and all that stuff. I will say though, if there's somebody I would really like to have on for the next season, I think it would be Sick Nerd. I think Sick Nerd would be really fun to have on. I think Perp would also be really fun to have on. So if I have to give an answer, I think those two would be really fun to have on. How scripted are the confessionals? There's nothing at all scripted about Gielinor games in general, right? At all. Everything that plays out is legitimate. Like nothing is ever, I don't ever give the competitors instructions and say, hey guys, I need you to lose this challenge today. I need you to win this challenge today. That never, ever, ever happens. For the confessionals, however, what I do is I give them direction in the confessional. So for example, whenever somebody goes into a banning, I tell them, okay, pretend that you're facing your audience, pretend you're facing the viewers, give them some words of confidence that you're going to come back, that you're going to win, right? That's kind of like a producer director question, right? Because usually that's probably not something that they would answer on their own. That's something that I have to kind of direct and script them to answer. So, and that's when you hear the classic, I'm going to win today. Frame sucks. I'm going to beat Framed and he sucks and I'm going to win, right? Just questions like that. So I do sometimes lead them in a certain way with one of my questions to try to get the best answer possible for a confessional, if that makes sense. Oh my goodness. Would the winner getting to choose the next challenge from a list be a viable option? It would be super fun. So I've seen some people ask, what if there was a season where the winner of a challenge, or for example, somebody in an advantage in the banning would be you can choose from a list of bannings or a list of challenges. Here's my issue with that. If I show them a list of challenges or a list of bannings, isn't that kind of spoiling what future bannings and challenges are going to be? Like, isn't that just giving them an advantage in general? Like, if I give them a list of 5 challenges or 5 eliminations, then they can prepare and see those challenges and eliminations for the future, right? So that just spoils it. So then if I have to, one way around that would be to have just new bannings and challenges every time I do that. But that means I would have to come up with like 100+ challenges and eliminations, which just not possible for a single season. Very, very, very difficult. So I'm not a big fan of showing them a list of bannings and eliminations challenges to choose from. What's your favorite MTV challenge season? My favorite MTV challenge season is season 33, War of the Worlds. I think that's my favorite. I really like War of the Worlds 2 as well. The Josh vs. Jordan War of the Worlds season 2 elimination, the rope pulling one, was my favorite elimination of all time. Pick a banning just based off the name. Yeah, that's a possibility. Do you plan on hiring people to help make future seasons of GG? The Gielinor Games team has grown every single season. So yes, I do plan on getting more people involved for the next season. Absolutely. Would you ever do a hide and seek style challenge where you need to prepare something? For example, get a key to go deeper into Shades of Morton? Yes, I think I kind of did that this season with Gilligesser, where people had to get an item to get to me. I don't want to make it be too long. Like, I think hide and seek, the fun thing about hide and seek is when they see me and find me, right? So I think that is something I need to ideally have happen as fast as possible. So having something simple like having them get an item to get to me was a really nice evolution of the game. So I think that is probably the extent I'd go to it. I've seen some really interesting suggestions though, and you guys are gonna let me know what you think about this. I've seen some people say like I should do like the red click challenge for a hide and seek episode. Like, how cool is that? Like, I hide somewhere and then they have to find where I am, but then they have to do the red click challenge, so they can only red click to get to me, right? So I can do stuff like that for hide and seek to really make it unique, and kind of, you know, keep evolving the game to be really exciting. So I think that's a really cool idea. Oh my gosh, I've missed a couple donations. I really apologize. Spectre, how's it going? Would you consider a late season challenge where eliminated players return to screw over the participants in a PvP world? So I've said so to all these questions so far, and it's because they're very valid, legitimate questions, and ones that I've heard before, and ones that I've thought a lot about. So I think having previous eliminated competitors come back for a challenge is exciting and a fun concept. But what scares me is, what if somebody plays like the perfect season? You know, they win a bunch of bannings, they snake everybody, and they're playing the perfect season, and they make it to the second to final challenge, right? And imagine they then, for the second to final challenge, I invite all the previously eliminated competitors back. And then all those previously eliminated people, some of those guys may have been snaked or betrayed by that person who was playing a really good season. What if all those people then just fully focus and sabotage that one player, right? And that player then loses the challenge and they get eliminated. Is that fair? Like, would that be fair to that person for them to play like the perfect game? And then just, and then for all those people who they eliminated and sent home, then they all just get to come back for fun, right? And then they get to just fully single-handedly destroy that person. I don't know. You guys might have different opinions than I do. Again, you guys might have different opinions than I do. You might think it's fair. You might not think it's fair. Life isn't fair. That's a good way of looking at it. Again, I would personally feel, I would be pissed. But, again, content is content. I think it would be fair. Wow, there's a lot more fairs than I thought. There's a lot more fairs than I thought. By the way, guys, I wanted to mention this. I believe this is the same Shiro Spectre. If it's not, I apologize. But there was an official Gielinor Games wiki created. So if you guys want history on the show, if you guys would like to help out in documenting Gielinor Games in written format, there's a wiki here that I'll link that you guys can click on, and you guys can help edit that page. It's run by Shiro. She's an absolute legend. And you guys can check it out. And if you guys would like to help out with like the writing and documenting of seasons and all this stuff, I'm on World 445. Then make sure to check that out. Meaty Punk, thanks for the $2, man. Would you consider an IRL challenge with creators? Oh man, that would be awesome. But logistically, I don't even know if that'd be able to be pulled off. Because again, the tough thing about RuneScape creators is that we're from everywhere, right? We're from every single time zone. So having to logistically, meet up IRL just to film a challenge would be very expensive. It'd be worth it. So I think if there's ever a place for us to do it, it'd probably be at RuneFest, which is happening next year, because I think most people are going to that. So if there was ever a time to do it, it probably would be at RuneFest. Funny Stone, $20. Thank you very much. Hey, Soup, GG is my favorite OSR's content to watch. I look forward to watching it each year. Awesome job on the season. Hey, shout out to Funny Stone. You're an absolute legend. Thank you. Yo, Soup, can I get a shout out to my girl Skates? Yo, Eevescape in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest threat in Gielinor Games history. Shout out Skates. What's up, Evie? Happy belated birthday, my man. It was my boy Jake's birthday a couple days ago. Make sure you guys give him a nice little belated happy birthday. Good to see you, Jake. I'm on World 445. How much testing of each challenge do you do beforehand? Do you have routes or strategies in mind that people might try? Yeah, so I test every single challenge in banning. There's a couple that I can't. There's a couple that I cannot. But those are kind of just my hope that, I kind of just hope that they turn out well. But the majority of the challenges and bannings are tested. But here's the thing, guys. I'm not the best RuneScape player. I'm an okay player, but what's fun about Gielinor Games is when I come up with a challenge or an elimination and I have an idea of how it might play out, and then everybody on the season blows my expectations out of the water and they come up with super unique strategies and different gameplay methods to complete that challenge, and it just turns out so much better than I thought. So I can't prepare for every situation. I will say that the one challenge this season that I think people ask me all the time, which challenge do I think was the most disappointing? I think if I had to pick one, it probably would be the Ulm challenge. I wish I would have given everybody better gear for the Ulm tank test, and I wish I would have given them more brews. I think the concept of the challenge itself was really fun, but it went way too quick, right? Like that Ulm tank test took 4.5 minutes, I think, tops. So, and then I had to extend that into a 20-minute challenge. So I think some people told me that they enjoyed it, but they could tell that I really tried to extend it quite a bit. So that's probably the one thing if I had to pick a challenge, it probably would be that one. What's your favorite GG rivalry? Ooh, great question. I think Framed and Eevescape and then Torvesta and Skill Specs are pretty great. But there are some other ones building behind the scenes, which are going to be fun to watch, Iro. I'm really excited for that. To add to the IRL, thank you again for the 5, Dirtbag. To add to the IRL will be fun at RuneFest to do a live Final Cooks Assistant Challenge or something. Hey, maybe I'll talk to the people, maybe I'll talk to Jagex. Maybe we can have a little Gielinor Games booth or something. That would be kind of cool. Maybe we have a little Gielinor Games booth and you can go with a friend and compete head-to-head in a type of challenge at like a 2 PCs or something. That's kind of a cool idea. That's kind of a really cool idea. Dang. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to talk to Jagex about that. That would be kind of cool. You can, there's like 2 PCs set up right in front of each other and you guys have to like speed run Cook's Assistant or something, right? That's kind of a cool idea. Jonathan, thanks for the 5. Hey, amazing content. I love you. Love you too. Or would you be open to another season that has duo teams? I love the dynamics between the players with that and the formats. Yes, I will answer that in a sec. Timothy, thank you for the 5. Do you get any help from JMods to set up some of the challenge scenarios? Yes. We did have help in the Ulm tank test. For the, we had a JMod help us through. But other than that, that was the only time we've had JMod help for a challenge. Everything else is set up and done by me. Okay, so yeah, Jonathan, that is a really great. Well, there's a lot of people here. World 445, by the way. Love hearts in the chat if you guys are. Let me see a love heart above your head if you guys are watching the stream. So the format, the Gielinor Games format, is one of the hardest ever. It's one of the hardest things to come up with, right? You guys know there's no perfect format. Everybody prefers different things when it comes to Gielinor Games. Everybody, I may have, again, I'm not trying to ignore any donos. I apologize. There's just a lot of people are talking really quickly. I apologize. Are there any contestants that would be guaranteed an invitation to GG5? Me. I don't want to, I'm not going to like say any names, but there are some people who definitely are favorites on the show, right? Who I think you can probably guess are usually going to have an invite back. Like again, I think some people have earned their stripes and will always have an invite back. Solo Mission, I think Bodhi, right? Settled, my boys. Those guys are definitely amazing content. So, okay, so yeah, so again, back to Jonathan's question. Everybody has a different preference for the format. People like solo formats. People like team formats. People like duo, small team, big team. That's what really made the free agents format that we've done the past 2 seasons. It's something I really liked about it is because we can include everything into one season. But I know some people have really missed the dynamic of having a permanent teammate for the entire season. It's something I'm considering for season 5. We've done 2 straight seasons of free agents now with that type of format. And I know a lot of you guys really enjoyed the permanent teammate. So I've seen a lot of suggestions for something like tribes that they do on Survivor. Teams of 3, duo teams again, small teams, right? So I'm taking everything into consideration. Again, creating the format's going to be one of the hardest but most fun things about it. So I'm looking forward to it. Ricky Ross, thanks for the $5. How did the idea of a survival/Big Brother game show come up? And how long did you sit with the idea before pulling the trigger? So I started watching a show called The Challenge, if you guys have ever watched it before, on MTV, like 6-7 years ago. And a year after I started watching it, I just kind of thought that this concept could work in RuneScape. So in the summer of 2019, I wrote down a bunch of ideas of how it could be implemented, sent out a bunch of invites, and then in the fall of 2019, I started recording. We started recording season 1. So it only took like 2-3 months from coming up with the idea to pulling the trigger and filming season 1. So yeah, probably the greatest decision I've ever made was to start recording Gielinor Games. I'm not even, like, genuinely probably the greatest decision I've ever made in my entire life. So it's been worth it. It's been absolutely worth it. Thank you to you guys all for watching and tuning in, because again, you made you in a sense made my idea a reality, because without you guys watching, the show wouldn't be a thing. So I'm greatly appreciative. Thank you. Amazingly predicted last episode being multiple challenges and worth points. However, surprisingly at the lack of PvP and PVM. Was this done consciously? Yes. Again, if you guys, guys, I will get to, just chill with the sending questions. I'll get to it. So the thing with a finals challenge is we have to do it in under 15 minutes, right? So I knew that the final was going to be 8 challenges again. The tough thing was how do I fit a challenge into 15 minutes? And that's the really tough thing about PvP and PVM. How do you fit a PvP challenge into 15 minutes with 5 people? I guarantee you off the top of your head, it's really hard to think about. A lot of people said, oh, you should have just put them into an LMS game, right? Well, think about it. If I put them into an LMS game and there's an odd amount of people, 5 people, one person is guaranteed third place because they don't have a fight. To me, that wasn't really fair, so I decided not to do it. And I genuinely just couldn't think. I spent weeks planning the finals challenges, and I could not come up with a 15-minute PvP challenge that we could do in that time frame. I just could not think of it, so I decided against it. With PVM, we had the Calphite Queen challenge, so I thought that was fair. Soup, brewing the most bottled brews challenge, bring greatness back to dead minigames and content. That sounds like a terrible idea. You can stop spamming that question now. Would love to see a format where you pair up a master with an apprentice for a season. For example, non-RuneScape players and YouTubers, and have them paired with your normal players. So the really tough thing about getting non-creators involved in a season is that logistically it's very, very difficult to set up, right? It took us 6 months to film a season with people who are all full-time creators pretty much, right? 6 months. So imagine I have a season of 20 people and 10 of those people are people who are non-creators and have their own lives and full-time jobs alongside that. So having to schedule all of those people to be on at the same time would take, I'm not even kidding, it'd take like a year. It would take a genuine year to finish that show. On top of that, I'd have to vet and every single person who comes on, right? I'd have to make sure they all have, good audio equipment. I have to make sure they're people who I think would be good for a reality TV show, right? So there's just, at that point, yeah, not everybody's a showman, exactly. So at that point, I just have to think, is the time invested into doing like that something? Is the payoff going to be worth it? And for me, I haven't found a situation yet where I thought it would be worth it. So yeah, that's just kind of my unfortunate, maybe sad answer to that. But I am up for the idea of getting a couple more people involved in the season who are not creators. But again, for me, I feel like, again, and this is maybe not unpopular, but this is how I see it going. I think a lot of people would love to be on the show and think they would be great. But then, what's really difficult is the day comes where we're filming, and then you have to, in a sense, get into your showman shoes and become a reality TV star, right? So, do you think that you would be able to go up against Solo Mission Bodhi and Settled, and come up with your own storylines and be really exciting and really add to the show? That's something I think it's something to think about, right? So, you've got audio cutout issues, my guy. Is my audio cutting out? Are you guys is there issues with my audio? But thank you for the $8, Bowlful. Shiro Spectre, thanks for the wiki shout. It's really coming along well, but could definitely use some help. You are an angel for setting up that page in the first place. You're the absolute best. So again, I will get back to all of your questions about the wiki, by the way, and hopefully can help out with that as well now that I have a bit more time. Another $5 from Spectre. Oh, so there's Shiro Spectre and there's Spectre. Okay, there's 2 different Spectres here. That's really funny. I don't know how many seasons you plan on going, but would you rerun the original format for the final season? 2 big teams with substitutes and stuff. I'm not against 2 big teams, to be honest with you. I'm not against it at all. I really am okay with potentially bringing back the idea of a team format. But if there's one thing I've learned about the past 2 seasons is that people really like solo seasons. There's no audio issues. Well, Guy Chambers, it sounds like your headphones suck, my friend. Okay, so if there's one thing I've learned is that people really like the solo format. People really like the people like challenges where the person has to rely on themselves, right? Seasons 3 and 4 are the best performing seasons of all, and the viewers, I think, enjoy watching people. And that's just kind of RuneScape, right? That's just kind of RuneScape. That's what RuneScape content creation has always been for the most part. Is it's your series, it's your gameplay, and it's you trying to do a challenge, right? I think that's why a lot of people like watching it. So I actually did a poll. If you guys didn't know, there's a Gielinor Games 4 survey below the stream, and one of the questions I have is about team formats and if you guys prefer performance or social games, stuff like that. So make sure you guys all check it out in the description of the stream. You guys can fill it out maybe while you're listening to this stream. Team seasons are better, but you need to have the teams not work well together to cause drama. Yeah, it's a really difficult... Yeah, like I said, you need a healthy... my personal idea of a perfect season is a very healthy balance of performance and social game, right? Season 3, I think, was very social heavy. Seasons 4, I think, was very performance heavy. Now, if I'm looking at the seasons based off numbers alone, Season 4 was the best performing season by far, and Season 4 was a heavily performance-based season, right? There was drama, right, but it definitely wasn't as much drama as Season 3. So, to me, that's a sign of, oh, people really enjoyed the performance aspect. People really enjoyed the gameplay aspect of Gielinor games. Does that mean that I should continue to really reward performance and have that be the direction of the show? Or does that mean I should try something new for the next season? Again, I don't have the answer for it. But in my personal opinion, I could go with a little bit more drama in terms of the social game, right? I could do with a little bit more of it for the next season. So I think if I bump up the social, and if I find a mechanic that really adds some drama to the show when it comes to voting, or a twist, or some type of a mechanic that maybe adds a little bit of drama in that sense, but still very much rewards performance, I think that's the perfect format. So yeah, I think you guys can hopefully probably agree with that. Has there ever been a golden snitch rule? For example, if someone gets a pet during a challenge, they auto win that challenge. That's a funny idea. I've always wanted somebody to get a pet during a challenge before. It's never happened, but do you guys remember? Let's see who some true OGs are in the chat. Which competitor in season 1 got 99 woodcutting during a challenge? Let's see if you guys know. For all my true OGs, I think there's going to be quite a few correct answers in here because you guys are legends. So, C Engineer is correct. Look at you guys, man. You got, oh my God, everybody in the chat knows. What's up, Brian? Everybody in the chat knows. You guys are amazing, man. Oh, look at you guys, bro. That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. Deadman Devin season 5 confirmed. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, isn't it crazy how much of a difference season 1 is to season 4? Like, if you guys haven't watched season 1 in a while, like, just go back and watch like a couple minutes of season 1 and look at the difference between season 1 and 4. It's absolutely insane how different it is. It's charming in its own way, but man, it is such a difference production-wise. It's so funny to go back and look at it. Because I remember in season 1, I was thinking, dude, season 1, like, this is as good as it's gonna get. I was always thinking, like, damn, like, it's never gonna get better than season 1. But yeah, I definitely can be proud of how we've gotten so far over the past 4 years of it. Season 1 is the only season I haven't watched. Should I go back and watch it fully? I would try out the first episode of season 1, and if you like it, it's really funny, guys. But the hardest challenge we've ever done in Gielinor games of all time is in the very first episode of season 1. The very first episode of season 1, I made them do a hard mode Chambers of Zarek. In the first episode of season 1, like, that to this day is probably still the hardest challenge of all time, dude. Like, I definitely came in with a bang. So yeah. Your mom would be proud of you. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, Rayleigh. Holy 30 bucks. You're insane. Thank you so much. Thank you for creating a fun content to watch of Gielinor games. Well, thank you very much. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Very, very humble of you. Thank you. How much does the music licensing cost? Big value. Yeah, so actually, fun fact, in season 3, I was spending about 350 bucks a month on the music licenses. And then I actually found a new music library to use for season 4, and it was a third of the price per month. So I was only spending about 150 bucks per month on the music license. And to be honest with you guys, I feel like the music was better this season than it was in season 3. So I hit the jackpot with the music. I think we absolutely nailed it. So yeah, to only have to spend, I think we spent like, I think I paid for a year license, and it's like 150 bucks a month. So yeah, again, unbelievable value, unbelievable value. Orphan, thank you for the 22 euros. I'm just going to be rude and ask this. Is there any chance we see Lynx, Ocarina, or Rarg on a future season? They said on stream they aren't in it because they weren't invited and think it's rude to ask you for an invite. I'm open to having anybody on the show. Again, it usually just comes down to viewer feedback. And the most, like, for example, in season 4, I took a lot of the feedback from season 3, the survey I got, and on who to have on the show, and kind of just based that on my invitations, and also just based that on who I thought would be best to have on the season. But I'm open to having any and everybody on. There's no like blacklist. There's no except for, well, I probably should have ROT members blacklisted after all the drama that's happened, right? But there's no blacklist. There's no list I have of, oh, this person will never be on. Again, this is really, I'm open to having any and everybody on. Casting is one of the most difficult parts, as you can imagine, because there's hundreds of creators that could be on the show. But I only have spots for 18 to 22, so it's difficult. It's really difficult, really difficult. Ashir, $20 Canadian. Thank you very much. Opening challenge has a hidden person you can trade unrelated to the challenge itself in a random location, and you get the immunity totem. You don't need to disclose what you have one until you are picked for the banning. I see Tierzu in the chat. What's up, Tierzu? Good to see you, man. Yeah, so that's... Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate with the immunity totem. I know there's a lot of Survivor fans. I know a lot of people love the immunity idol and the immunity totem from Survivor, and they want to see it in Gielinor games. So here's my devil's advocate pitch on it. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, but here's my pitch against it. Do I really just want to straight up rip the immunity totem from Survivor? Like, do I really... I feel like me just saying, hey guys, there's an immunity totem, there's an immunity idol this year. I feel like that, me just saying that is like just being... It almost feels like I'm kind of forcing it into the show because so many people like it from Survivor. That's one of my 2 points against it. The second point is that I feel like it takes away from the main challenge. Like, if people realize there's an immunity totem this season, let's say there's 16 people in an episode, and let's say like 4 people just like stop doing the main challenge itself and just try to look for the immunity totem, right? I don't like that. Like, I feel like viewers wouldn't like that. If 4 people are just not even doing the challenge itself and they're just trying to look for the immunity totem, right? I feel like again, I just see more negatives to the immunity totem being in the show than positives. So I feel like I really need to be convinced that in another way to have something like that in the show. I'm just not fully convinced of it. Demon K, thank you for the $5. I've been a fan for years. How much money do I have to send to script a solo mission GG win? Oh man. Solo mission's just the GOAT, bro. There's literally no other way around it. Solo mission is the GG GOAT. And that's why he has the hardest path, probably of anybody, to win a season. It's really that simple. Solo mission just has one of the hardest paths to win a season of Gielinor games. Do that for season 6, right? Or season 5. Oh god, I just leaked season 6. Season 6 confirmed. just kidding. I gotta get through season 5 first. I don't know. Gielinor Games isn't a scripted show. It's not a scripted show, so I don't know. He could win the next season. He could not win the next season. He might. I haven't even sent him an invite for next season. Maybe he's not even on the next season. Who knows? But yeah, I hope he is. If it's going to be Orphan, thanks for the $6. If it's going to be a voting season, maybe have opportunities to find/earn extra votes instead of immunity totems, less overpowered and still fun. I think if I'm going to include a mechanic that gives people more, like the option to give somebody more votes or take a vote away from themselves, I think it should be earned through a voting system or before or after the challenge is filmed. I'm not fully convinced that there should be something in the game where people can stop doing the main challenge that day and try to gain an advantage in some other way. I'm not fully convinced the viewers will like that, and I'm not fully convinced that would be good TV. Again, that something like that might work in a show like Survivor, but Gielinor Games it's a different type of reality show, right? Because we film everything online. Everything is filmed online. There's no cameras. Nothing is in person, right? So again, there's nothing. There's a lot of restrictions when it comes to filming a season of Gielinor Games, right? So that's an unfortunate thing about it. Who did you think was going to win season 4 before it started? I don't know. I knew it was going to be a very performance-heavy season, so if I had to give a guess, I just kind of thought to myself, whoever performs the best in the challenges is going to have a higher chance to win than other people. I mean, that's just, you could say that for every single season, but for this season especially. Andrea Widener, thank you for the $10. Thanks for the amazing content. You're the best. You're right back at you. You're the best as well. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, if you guys are having audio issues, just feel free to refresh the stream. Also, guys, by the way, links in the description of the stream. GG4 survey. My second channel is now officially out where you guys can watch behind-the-scenes footage. That's linked below as well. Some important links that might be answering some questions from you guys that I'm seeing in the chat. God forbid, do you have a plan if somebody passes away mid-season? Would you dedicate the season to them? Would you bring in a substitute? I don't even want to... thank you for the $5, but I don't even want to like speak that in. I do not even want to speak that into existence. That is not something I want to even think about, to be honest with you. So, yeah, let's just not even really consider that. But thank you for the $5. Did you plan the twist for GG early, or did they come within a short amount of time before filming? Yeah, so I answered that question in my most recent video on my second channel, which is linked below this description, but I'll give a quick summarization of that. So the tribunal and the twist of picking who you want to go against to go into the banning was a decision I made literally right after season 3 finished. I knew that was going to be the twist for season 4, but fun fact, I actually created the Amulet of Choice twist a few days before we filmed the first episode of the season. Because originally coming into season 4, I was going to have it where the person who wins the banning gets full immunity again for the next episode. I was going to have that be the same thing. But then I thought to myself, that's kind of lame. We did that in season 3. Let's shake it up a little bit for season 4. So I decided to introduce the Amulet of Choice twist for this season. Now, I think Amulet of Choice... I think the Amulet of Choice was a really good addition to the show. However, I know that the choices themselves were maybe not as balanced as people would hope they would be. But again, this was just a learning experience for me. I kind of got a good idea of if viewers like something like an Amulet of Choice twist and how to better balance the choices that they had. So I think it was a really good addition. I understand that some choices maybe were more overpowered compared to others, right? So, but again, Gielinor Games, I'm constantly learning what you guys like to see, what people don't like to see, right? So that's what's exciting, is I can continue to hopefully perfect the show, right? So that's what's exciting about it. Dear Soup, as an avid fan of GG since season 1, I finally saw this as an opportunity to thank you for the amazing show. Your mom will be proud. Keep it up. Thank you, Jay Graves. That's very kind of you. I'm unbelievably appreciative of those messages. I've seen a bunch of messages like that I haven't responded to. Thank you again. Feel free to keep asking your question until I answer it, guys. I'll be here for quite a lot longer. So maybe I break out some mimosas here in a little bit. What do you guys think about some post season 4 mimosas? The issue is I do not have champagne or prosecco, so I literally cannot make mimosas. But yeah, that could be an issue. GG is my favorite series ever. Thank you, Joe Garcia, for the $5. Would you ever throw the contestants for a loop and do an RS3 related challenge episode? That's another that is another question that I asked quite a bit. And this answer is going to make some of you guys very happy and maybe some of you not very happy. There will never be a RuneScape 3 Gielinor Games episode. I think that would be way too forced. And I guarantee you, even though I like RuneScape as a game, RS3 as a game, I got nothing against it. I'm happy it's there. A lot of people do not like RS3. And that alone would cause the video to probably not do well. That video would get a lot of dislikes. And it's not something I'm willing to... it's not something I would like to see on a Gielinor Games episode, is a lot of dislikes. So what I think is the best is that if RuneScape 3 has a content creator that creates a Gielinor Games, and guess what? It's happening. There is a RuneScape 3 creator called Iron Araxor, and he is creating an RS3 version of Gielinor Games. So if you guys are curious about it, I'll link the channel trailer. Oh my god. There's the RS3 Gielinor Games trailer if you guys would like to check it out. Yeah. I just realized that... Hold on. Am I streaming? No, I'm streaming on the right channel. Okay. I just realized I'm commenting on my second account in the chat. Wait, what is going on? Hold on. That's awkward. Let me quickly switch to my main account first. Sorry, guys. Okay. I've been commenting on the wrong You're not streaming on the right channel? Wait, am I live on the wrong... Am I live? No, I'm live on my Super RS channel, right? Yeah, I'm live on my Super RS channel. At least I think I am. Orphan, thanks for the €6. Have you ever considered organizing or outsourcing mini seasons, like a female only or a smaller creator mini season, for example? It's something that would be cool to see, but I don't have time for personally. Like, I cannot organize and set up a mini season outside of Gielinor Games. Filming the main season of Gielinor Games takes almost a year of my time. So I just genuinely don't have time to organize and film. I'd be happy to help and give feedback to somebody else creating a mini season, but it's something I personally just don't have time for. The main season of Gielinor Games takes almost a year to produce and film. So I just genuinely don't have time for it, unfortunately. Kung Fu, $20. Thank you very much. Last banning before the finals. What's this? The person going in already has an opponent chosen by Soup. Boom, it's one of the eliminated players who had to go through a separate challenge to have a chance at the finals. That's a great twist, and it's one that we did in Season 2. If you guys remember Season 2, we did Redemption Falls. So it's been done before on Gielinor Games, and people did like it. Thank you for the $20. But I just want to reiterate, guys, with redemption challenges, that I know that they're fun, and I know it's fun to see people come back and who are eliminated, but I just also want to say that I don't think redemption challenges should happen too often. I think if I constantly do redemption challenges, they become less exciting, and they just kind of don't make the main challenges seem as kind of cutthroat and as scary, because if there's always a redemption episode, then people always think, oh, I have a second chance to get back into the game, right? So I don't like that. I think redemption episodes and seasons should happen very rarely. I think it worked in Season 2, but to have it happen a season or two later, I think was just way too soon. But thank you for the 20. Rick Rab, $5. Thank you, my friend. Did you make /level all the alts for the challenges? Yes, I made every single alt account, and I made every single second account myself for the challenges, except for the escape room challenge. That was done by the person who created the escape room. But we are a couple 100 million GP in the hole from bond prices from creating second accounts, or just secondary accounts to use on the show. Yeah, Reagan, thank you for the $5. Yeah, again, Redemption Island, we did it in Season 2. So there was a Redemption Island in Season 2. But I just decided not to do it for Seasons 3 and 4. I'm gonna try to. I don't even know how to. Like, I don't even know how to see my own live stream on YouTube. Let me quickly try to. Whoa, that's my voice. I'm gonna quickly pop out the chats on my main account so you guys can see my actual answers on my main account. Okay, I think we're good now. What is this chat summary? Thank you, Dirtbag, for another 5. Can you comment on how financials for you going from a standard content creator to doing GGS change? I mean, Gielinor Games has changed my life. Like, financially, just workload-wise, like, goal-wise, it's definitely been a boost. I'll answer that much. I'm not going to give you exacts and specifics on the revenue and all that, but it's been a big boost mentally and comfort-wise for my real life. But again, a lot of work goes into it, so it's I really had to work to get to this point. QE, what's up, Pat? Good to see you, man. Hey, bud, any thoughts on punishments? $50, by the way. You're insane, my man. Good to see you. Thank you, bro. For doing poorly in the challenges with the tribunal being in play. Yeah, so that's another that's something else I wanted to touch on. And let me get to that really quickly after I answer this next one. Sleepy Alex, $5. Thank you very much. My fiance and I loved watching GG and, of course, playing OSRs together. Thank you for the tireless work. You're awesome. Thank you so much, Sleepy. You're amazing. Thank you very much for the $5. Shout out to you and your fiance for watching. Yeah, so I agree. I very much agree. Last place in a challenge. Should they be punished for that? I think there should be some type of punishment. I agree. I think Season 3 did a pretty good job where the person who gets last has a vote on their head already. I think that was an okay punishment. I didn't do it in Season 4, mainly because I thought the tribunal twist of having 3 players getting top 3 was kind of just that season's, like, I think that was, like, my reasoning behind Season 3 with last place getting a vote was I wanted people to continue playing and pushing not to get last place during a challenge. Then for Season 4, I was thinking, okay, now that there's 3 spots up for grabs, that should be a reason enough for people to continue wanting to play during the challenge because there's multiple chances to win, right? So that was kind of my play and my idea behind that. But I know a lot of people want to see people getting punished. And I know a lot of people see, a lot of people want to see a season where last place gets put directly into the banning. The one issue I have with that is that, just remember, there's a lot of things outside of my control when we film the Gielinor Games challenge. Everything is filmed online. So let's say we're filming a challenge and somebody's computer crashes, or somebody is lagging in a world, or there's a family emergency. And the format of the season is that the last place person goes directly into the banning. Is it fair? Is it fair for me to send the person whose computer crashed or who had a family emergency? Is it fair for me to put them directly into the banning? I don't think so. And again, that could be a huge issue with the show. I also don't want to give them a pass, right, where they can't be put in because they were lagging or something, right? That just isn't fair either. So I'm not fully convinced that a season where the last place person gets sent directly in is fair. I think it's good to have maybe on occasions throughout the season, like we did it in Season 5, or we did it in this past season with Curtis MMORPG going in Episode 5. I think that's a potential way of doing it where it just happens every now and then. But I'm not fully convinced it should be a permanent mechanic. But I agree with you, Mr. QE, that I think punishments for performing poorly could make a return. Maybe not something very harsh, but just an incentive to really push yourself not to be the worst when playing that day's challenge. And thank you again for the $50. Absolutely insane. We also have $20 from CPZD. Thank you. It's very, very generous. I'm sure filming GG every year is taxing. Have you considered moving to every 2 years and on off years making a smaller GG qualifying? It might give you the freedom to invite more creators for qualifying, like a GG World Cup. I haven't considered that. No, I think every 2 years may be a little bit too long for a main season. I think once every year is pretty solid. I could always do another qualifying episode again. That's an option, where, you know, maybe I invite 6 creators on or something. They all compete for a spot or 2 on the main game. That's something I could definitely do again. But having a mini season outside of the main season, again, I think that's a little bit too much work. Spectre, thank you again for the 5. One more question. Have you ever had to reschedule due to last-minute reschedule changes? Yes. Yeah, we've had to do a couple of reschedules where we had a date planned. In fact, it's probably happened 6-7 times where we had a date planned, and then an emergency pops up for somebody, or last minute something had to be changed with the scheduling. So, yeah, I think it's happened quite a bit. Fun fact, we've had to schedule multiple times because the finale was going to be filmed December 23rd of last year. But guess what? Every single damn NPC in the game was wearing a Santa hat because it was Christmas time. And I thought to myself, if I film the B-roll for this episode 6 months later, none of the NPCs are going to have Santa hats on. So we had to wait to film the finale until the update came out that removed all the Santa hats from the game and removed snow from every single place in the game that was there for the Christmas update. So we actually had to wait 2.5 weeks to film the finale, just so for the B-roll, the continuity made sense with people, for example, not wearing Santa hats and there being snow on the ground and stuff. Yeah, Sandman. Absolutely. I think there's very much a place in the game for a season where you come in with a partner, but then there's partner changes throughout the season, and we shift from maybe like a tribe season to a solo season halfway through. I think that's a very legitimate mechanic that could make an appearance. How exactly were the winnings divided up this season? If you look at the end of if you look at the finale and then go to the end of it, it shows exactly how much every single person got. Hi, James. Soup, the GOAT of OSR's content. Have you ever thought about your future once GG eventually ends? No. I'd like Gielinor games to go on as long as humanly possible because it's my absolute passion, and I'm thankful enough that it's become something I can do full time. So hopefully, if you guys are all willing to watch every single season, hopefully we can make this thing last for quite a bit longer. And then hopefully at that point we, we can